Is it time to admit that Brock Purdy is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? We'll debate that next on the Cohn Zone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Cohn Zone. That's Lowell Cohn. I'm Grant Cohn. The Niners just won another game, and Brock Purdy had the game of his life, 5 touchdowns. He was phenomenal. And the question now is, how good is he really? And we will answer that question in a bit. Stay tuned, because that's what we're getting to. First, we got to bring you some news. 6 49ers were elected to the Pro Bowl today, selected to the Pro Bowl. Here's who they are George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, the fullback, the long snapper, John Weeks, and Luke Gifford, linebacker, but he made it as a special teamer. What do you think of that? 4 players from offense, 3 players and a fullback, and 2 players from special teams, no players from defense, 6 overall. That's, I think, as much as any team in the league. As many.
I think it shows how good the 49ers are. I'm trying to think, did anyone on defense deserve it? Diamador Lenore? I think you know more about this stuff than I do. So.
I like Diamador Lenore, but I think he was much more impactful when he was playing nickel. Now he's been on the outside, and I don't think he's not getting torched. People mostly stay away from him, but borderline Lenore, maybe Lenore.
Okay, and I would say the fullback gets in because there's so little competition. So, good for them, good for him. I have to say I'm a little surprised with McCaffrey. Iggy. I mean, he's having a wonderful season in a certain way, but certainly there are better running backs in the league than he is. I'm not saying better players, but better running backs. So to me, if I were looking at it, that's where I would raise an eyebrow with him, and nothing against him. He had a great game last night, but that's the only one.
That's fair. I mean, I think the case for Christian McCaffrey would be 16 touchdowns, and although he's averaging 3.7 yards per carry, he does have 92 catches. So if you look at him as like, he's still probably the best receiving running back in the league, or one of them. And while he's not the best ball carrier anymore, he still has been used at an unprecedented rate this year, and he's produced without being, explosive.
And he stayed healthy. And he stayed healthy in spite of how I believe he's being overused, but he stayed healthy.
Yes. I think it's interesting that 2 guys from their special teams made it. I think that's great, because their special teams might be the best unit on the team, or maybe the offense is, but it's right there. It went from being the worst unit in football last year to one of the best special teams in football. Their kickers are great. Their long snapper apparently is really good. I don't have an opinion, but their punt returner also is an alternate, Sky Moore. I think he deserves to make it as well.
He's very exciting, and it also turns out he may be a pretty good receiver as well. But what an upgrade, Iggy! What an upgrade in terms of special teams and how important that is.
Yes. What I noticed about who's not here, no one on defense. So that's Lenore could be there, but he's not. That's another testament to Robert Saleh. He's got a defense that's given up not that many points without any stars, without any real Pro Bowlers. So that's pretty cool. And Brock didn't make it, mostly because he missed games. And if he had stayed healthy, maybe he would have made it. But it is interesting that he has a Pro Bowl left tackle, a Pro Bowl running back, a Pro Bowl tight end. So, and probably a top 5 play caller in the league. Kyle's having a good year too.
It's interesting. Brock didn't make it because he missed games. Kittle made it. He missed games too.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
It is interesting.
Do you know who the quarterbacks were for the NFC?
Let me see. NFC Pro Bowl roster 2026. Here we go. It's Stafford, Darnold, and Dak Prescott.
Oh boy, I have
So,
a lot to say about
I
that
mean,
later. I have a lot to say about that
yeah,
later.
like only one of those quarterbacks is what I say is definitively better than Purdy, but you got to stay healthy. You got to be on the field to get these awards.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so they Christian McCaffrey's a Pro Bowler. Christian McCaffrey had his best game of the season yesterday against the Colts. Uh, all of a sudden, he looks pretty fast. He had averaged 5.4 yards per carry, scored 2 touchdowns, caught 2 touchdown passes. Do you think he's back? Do you feel like he's been pacing himself all year and now he's gonna finish the season strong?
I don't feel like he's been pacing himself. I think that it's not even a way to think about it. He's a guy who goes 100% every play. So I think there's a combination of things. One, I think that offensive line has really improved, Iggy. You know, we've always often pointed to it as a weak spot, but I think they've improved. In addition, boy, did they pass protect for him for Purdy last night.
Mhm.
McKivitz had a great game. He
Mhm.
did. He had a great
He
game.
did.
I was watching him.
He did.
Yeah. So I think that's one. I think also that the defense, especially the run defense for the Colts, was overrated. I do. They
Didn't
looked
show up.
pathetic. They
Yeah.
were pathetic. Having said that, I think based on last night, it looks like McCaffrey is beginning to be McCaffrey again. Now, can he do it in the next 2 games? I'm not God. I'm not an omniscient narrator. I don't know, but it looks promising. I
Yeah.
haven't seen him look that good in so long. And again, when he looks good, he is one of the most exciting ball players I've ever seen. And last night, Iggy, it was a charge to watch him play. It was.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's
Yeah.
promising.
I think what's really improved isn't necessarily him. I think he's sort of been the same player all year, but the offensive line has improved. Like he was getting hit behind the line of scrimmage a lot the first half of the season, and the right guard Dominic Puni was playing through a PCL injury, I believe, a knee injury. The left guard was Ben Barch, and then he got hurt immediately, and then it was Connor Colby, a rookie 7th round pick, who was just way over his head. And then finally, they got Spencer Burford over to left guard. It's his 4th year in the league. He's doing a pretty good job. And Dominic Puni finally doesn't seem to be injured anymore. And he was really good as a rookie. He's even better now. He just had this great game yesterday against DeForest Buckner. I mean, you didn't even notice Buckner in this game. That's
No.
largely because of Dominic Puni. So all of a sudden, the Niners have a pretty strong interior, and both tackles are pretty good. Colton McKivitz has been good, and Trent Williams isn't what he was a couple of years ago, but he's still probably, I mean, he's a Pro Bowler, so he's still one of the best left tackles in the league.
You know, we've been down on Kyle about not featuring the offensive line. Let me say it again, not drafting and not getting offensive line players, but maybe he knew what he was doing. I mean, this group, I would say last night was impressive, not
Yeah,
adequate. Iggy, I'm saying impressive. Would you agree with that?
I would. He's got a, I mean, really, the only hit that Purdy took the whole game was that scary one where they hit him in the arm. And if you go back and look at that play, the guy who hit him was being blocked by a tight end. It was one of those Kyle Shanahan genius plays, like from a few years ago in in Philly. So that wasn't the offensive line's fault. I didn't see Colton McKivitz get beat, or Trent Williams, or Dominic Puni, or Spencer Burford, or Jake Brendel. They all had great games.
Yeah, I like when you call it Kyle Shanahan genius place. You know what? We don't need to define it. I know exactly what you mean. Exactly
Yeah,
what
he
you
did it
mean.
again. And this
Yeah, yeah.
time his elbow didn't snap in half, thank God. But it looked like it could have. I mean, it was close. Anyway, Kyle knows what he's doing. Mm.
You know, he's back home. He got on a plane very early this morning from Indy. Iggy, did you go to sleep last night?
No, no. I was in the coach's booth doing my grades at 2:45 in the morning Eastern time, and this poor old man, probably 85 years old, and says, "Hey, how long are you gonna be in here?" I'm like, "I'll be out in 5 minutes, I promise." He had to go home. So if my grades were a little bit shorter than normal last night, it was because I couldn't keep that old man there till 4 in the morning, and then I just went straight to airport and slept on the plane as much as I could. So I got about 3 hours of sleep, which I might forget what I'm talking about midway through sentences, but I'll do the best I can.
Okay.
With that in mind, let's have a word from our sponsor. Chasing huge sports cards is a blast with Fanatics Live. It's an app where fans buy and rip cards together 24/7 with live on-screen hosts guiding the action. It's a great place to start collecting, even if you don't know much about cards yet. You can find streams for all kinds of sports, as well as Pokemon. Let's check out Fanatics Live Instant Rips Packs. Again, these are digital packs with real physical graded cards you can sell or get shipped to you. You even get an instant offer for app credit equal to 90% of the market value of the card. Let's get in right now. Let's go to this one, some baseball. Now I'm going to go and watch and see what I got. Let's see what I won. Grant Cohn. Here we go. This is so exciting. Oh my God. Give me something good. Bow, wow. Show me that you love me. Oh my God. The anticipation is crazy. They just make you wait and wait and wait. Boom. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Wow. I want to view the offer. $25.38. You bet your bottom dollar I want $25.38. Hell yeah. And that's how you do it on Fanatics Live. New users can get a free instant rips pack with the graded card to try it out. Use the link in the description to download the app and join your first stream to get your pack. Dad, remember when I had a bar mitzvah and like 90% of the money went to my college education fund, but you gave me like maybe $500, $700 to play with? I was $1,300, and what did I spend it all on?
Cards?
Baseball cards.
Baseball cards.
It was a good investment.
Do you have any?
I thought I might get a really good card, but I didn't.
Do you have any left?
Oh, well. I do. They're downstairs. I have, some cards of some players who were clearly on steroids. Kind of hurt their value. All right. So here's the big question I was asking myself and players and coaches on the team. It's the Passover question. What makes this team different? Why is this 49ers team so good when last year's 49ers team was so bad, considering last year's team had Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and George Kittle and Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan, and they were 6-11. What do you think is the biggest difference about this team?
Okay. First of all, it's hard to answer that one. You asked Kyle, and as I'm regurgitating what you said, he said they had a problem getting over losing in the Super Bowl, that they were instantly trying to get back to it, and somehow that hurt the team effort, which was really a way of criticizing himself, because it's really his job. It's his job to get them to focus. So I believe that's true. Okay, I believe part of it was, I'm going to use a cliche, which I hate, a Super Bowl hangover, that bullshit. I'm going to move on from it. That may be 50% of it. Iggy, I am not down there with the team, but I know what I observed from a distance, and I covered a lot of football games and a lot of 49er teams. I think there was a bad atmosphere on the team last season. I think there was a bad feeling. And I'm going to say, Ira Miller says you only know up to 15%. So this is the 15% I know. Deebo Samuel was a load. He was a load. Not only the way he performed, because he was fat and couldn't catch the ball, he was a load on the roster. He was a load in the locker room. He became a me-first player as opposed to a 49er. And he was a key guy, and that hurt. And then he went after the long snapper. I would have suspended him if I were the coach. Part of the issue was that Kyle was slow to respond. You want to do that? Get the hell out of here. We'll see you in a game, after another game. You don't act like that. Ayuk was beginning to become a pain in the ass at that time. That was with the shorts, where he defied the coach
Mm-hmm.
in front of the whole team. What a
Mm-hmm.
message. And again, I'm not going after Kyle today. I think he's in the running for coach of the year, but
Good year.
you're wearing the wrong shorts. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Not like change your clothes here.
No, that's what
Get the
Harbaugh
hell
would have
out.
said. He would have said, "Get out of here." Yeah.
So with Singletary.
Yep.
So they were NFL players. This
Yep.
coach wasn't. Get the
Yep.
hell out of here. Bill Walsh would have told him to get the hell out of there. How dare you show me up like this? Who do you think
Sure.
you are?
Because that's essentially what Brandon Ayuk was doing. It wasn't that he was expressing himself with different shorts. He was showing up Kyle in front of the whole team. Look what I can get away with.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
trivial is
Yeah.
significant. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are two things, Iggy. Those are two things that I think there was a bad atmosphere in that locker room. And I'm going to tell you something else. I got two more. And this again is on Kyle. Who the hell was the defensive coordinator?
Nick Sorensen.
Iggy, he may be a very nice man. I never met him, but he was
That was a
not
whiff.
he was not up to that job. He
No.
was not. Their defense was excruciating to watch. They don't have really good defensive players now, but they
The
have
worst.
a guy, the worst, but they have a guy, Salah, who knows how to work it, who knows how to get out of them what he's capable of getting out of them. In addition, Iggy, their special teams coach was no good. And we forget these things. But their defensive coordinator and their special teams coach were inadequate. And so
Yep.
these are four elements that are on the head coach, Iggy.
I completely agree. You nailed it all. I mean, the special teams has just been so good for the Niners. They sort of gift wrapped the Niners 7 points early in the game yesterday when they were losing. But I think what all the things you said, if I had to summarize it in a theme, I think it had to do with like a lack of leadership last season stemming from Kyle. Like he had a terrible year and it was all on him, and we saw like the culture sort of come apart at the seams with Debo and Ayuk, and there was probably more that we didn't even see. This year, I asked Kittle the same question, and what did he talk about? He said Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley, the assistant head coach. And I think it's such an interesting answer because Robert Saleh, you mentioned what he does for the defense, great defensive coordinator. But what's also nice about Robert Saleh is that he has head coaching experience. He is a head coach. Gus Bradley was a head coach. So instead of having Kyle be the only leader, the only true leader of men in the building, now you got three of them, and they're all different. And they can reinforce Kyle because look, Kyle's really a really, really good coach. But we know his shortcomings, and it doesn't have anything to do with X's and O's. It's more the leadership stuff. And it's great that he has Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley supporting him because now it feels like it's not necessarily an issue with this locker room anymore.
I love it, Iggy. So you sort of agree. And I think that's the difference between what we've mentioned between an 11 loss and an 11 win team. Those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Iggy,
As long as
have
Kyle
you
Shanahan has a defensive coordinator who has a head coach's temperament and leadership ability, he's going to be okay. I don't know that he can ever develop it as well as maybe Sean McVay has it, but he had DeMeco Ryans. He discovered Robert Saleh. Like he messed up with Nick Sorensen, but he's done a very good job bringing in the highest quality defensive coordinators and head coach types.
have you met Gus Bradley?
I have. They have those 2 group interview per year, and he was there. He's very upbeat and expansive. I know that Robert Saleh adores him, and he essentially was Robert Saleh's mentor. Brought him over to Jacksonville when Saleh was a quality control guy with Seattle,
Does
and now Saleh's repaying the favor.
Iggy? I've never met Gus Bradley, and I never will. So I'm going to ask you this: does he seem to have depth?
Yes, absolutely. I absolutely yes. Beyond football, yes,
You need people like that.
yeah. Because Kyle is so great on football, but it's nice to have some more.
Yeah, and Salah has more as well. He has a
Yes.
larger screen. Uh, And that's an okay.
What Kittle said about Bradley in particular, I was so surprised that he even brought him up. He says Bradley often gives a speech to the team the night before the game, and he said it's often has nothing to do with football.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Iggy, that would be something to pursue. You could ask
yeah.
Kittle, would it be
What
okay
are
for you
some
to
of the
tell me? Nate, tell me about one of the speeches if you don't feel you're violating a privacy.
because isn't that something that Bill Walsh used to do? Like, wouldn't he show fights and be like
Abs-
and relate it to
yeah,
the matchup?
he would indeed. And sometimes on Thanksgiving, this I know, he would sit, these were the 49ers, and he would sit them each at the locker, during the week, and he would go around the room and say, each of you tell me something you feel thankful for. I know he did. And it didn't have to be about football. So, Bill, in certain ways, had great wisdom. In certain ways, he didn't and could be petty and silly, but he was capable of great wisdom, and I think that affected how the team thought about itself and how it performed. I do.
Well, I think we both came to the same conclusion that Robert Saleh has a big impact on what was lacking in this team last year, and Kyle Shanahan gets a ton of credit as well for bringing in Robert Saleh and understanding that that's what he needs to balance him out. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Robert Saleh after this year. If he leaves again, do they make Gus Bradley the defensive coordinator? Could he fill those shoes? Uh, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I think we both agree that Robert Saleh is pretty crucial to the balance of this whole operation.
I would add, Iggy, I want to give Kittle credit. Sometimes I don't take him seriously because I think he's an actor a lot.
Mhm.
I don't know who he really is, but he was bright enough and sensitive enough to mention Gus Bradley,
Yep.
i.e., leadership. That's what he was talking about. He wasn't knocking Kyle, but he was talking
No.
about leadership. So it shows when he's in meetings and around the team, he's observant. He's probably observant in a way some others aren't because he's a little older, a little more experienced. So I give him credit for that, and he gave a good answer that we learned from.
Compare the way the Niners treated Debo last year, tried to placate him unsuccessfully, to the way they're handling Juwan Jennings this year. Debo was a problem the whole way through, and it never got better. Juwan had a little bit of a problem early on, was a little disgruntled. Now he's red hot. He's got his season together, and he's back on track to make a lot of money this offseason. He's helping the team. I mean, if that's either growth from Kyle or the influence of Saleh and Bradley or both.
You know what I would call it, Iggy? Tough love.
What? Tough
It's
love.
tough love.
Yeah.
And
There wasn't
these
enough of
are
that last year.
holy mackerel, was there not enough? Sometimes you've got to say, Debo, this is the limit. You went over the limit. You go it again, you're out. And competitors respond. And if they don't respond, you get rid of them. That's the
Yep.
deal. But you do tough love right then and there.
Speaking of tough love, I just saw this, but did you see what Steve Kerr did to Draymond Green last night?
I read about it. Tell me about it.
I don't know. They got into it in the huddle, and Steve Kerr seemed like he was giving him some tough love, and Draymond Green just got up and walked out, and then came back later, and Kerr refused to put him back in the game, and they blew out the other team. I thought that was kind of overdue.
Uh, I covered Steve Kerr, and I really admire him. It's funny,
Yeah.
he and I never got particularly friendly, but that doesn't matter. I really admire him, and I
Mhm.
admire what he did. Draymond Green's a pain in the ass. He's a pain in the ass, and I'll tell you right now, I don't need to be there. Every ref in that league hates him because he makes them
Yeah.
look bad, and he does, and he makes their jobs tough. And Steve's bright. Steve is really smart. He knows that, and every once in a while, you've got to say, I'm running this team, not you. You get with the
I
program
mean,
or go in the locker room.
yeah, it seemed like he could have done it 6 years ago, but he finally did it now, and it was interesting to see Draymond Green just walk away like a teenager or something. It's nice to see Kyle. There's some tough love. There's some good coaching going on in the Bay right now, and it's great to see Kyle Shanahan really be at his absolute best this year when I felt like last year he was at his lowest. It's good to see him bounce back.
Iggy, again, I don't know these people, but it's possible that, again, 85% of what goes on there you don't know. Maybe there's more tough love going on, like with Ayuk or with Jennings. It may not be Kyle who's doing it. It may be Bradley.
Maybe Kyle got some tough love from the organization this offseason. Maybe there's just a whole theme of tough love from the top down. Hey, Kyle, we love you, man, but we're not going to be re-signing a bunch of these people, and you're going to have to coach your way out of this freaking hole. And he did.
Yes. So you're smarter than I am. So there is a theme of tough love that not only did Kyle need to give it, he needed to get it.
Yep. And now the whole team is better for it. The whole team is better for it.
I owe you a nickel for that.
Juwan got tough love, and he's better for it. He's happier for it. His career is better for it. Yeah. He was trying to follow Ayuk's example, like it worked for him. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Don't do that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I love it. I hope someone from the organization watches this little part of it.
It was
tough love.
Tough love. A good part. Okay, before we get to ranking Brock, we haven't forgotten. I want to shout out Phillip Rivers. Before we never talk about him again, because the Niners aren't going to face that team, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And I think a little part of everyone was rooting for him just because it felt like he was trying to accomplish the impossible. What did you think of Phillip Rivers against the Niners?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. At halftime, my phone rings, which pisses me off because, I'm thinking of a game. I look, it's Tom Walsh. So Tom Walsh calls me up, and he's so excited. He says, Lowell, what Phillip Rivers is doing, he was like hyperventilating. What he's doing, he said, this is the performance of the century. That's what he said. And he was so excited, and I loved, this guy won a Super Bowl with the Raiders. It was so excited. And then he's, you know how smart Tom is. He's a genius. Yeah. And he starts saying, Lowell, it's not just a sports performance. It's a mythic performance. He says, it's like Walter Mitty. That's a short story you don't need to know about. It was a movie. It's like Don Quixote. It's like the natural. Yeah, I was going to say it. It's the if you haven't seen the movie, it's based on a Bernard Malamud novel, his first famous novel about a baseball player, and Robert Redford played the natural. It's a guy who comes from God knows where, and all of a sudden is hitting home runs all over the place. So Iggy, Tom was that excited. So I want to talk about Rivers' performance in 2 acts. Okay? First half, second half. Bear with me. If you do a doctorate in English literature, one of the poems you have to study is the Old English epic called Beowulf. Iggy, have you ever read Beowulf? Okay. Yes. Beowulf was written roughly 1,000 years ago, and it is a great fucking poem, and it's a long poem. It's called Old English, but it's much closer to Old German than what we would experience as English. It's a story about Beowulf, who's a hero, and the good guys, the guys he hangs around with, are threatened by a monster named Grendel. Beowulf takes on Grendel and kicks the shit out of him and kills him. Think of Beowulf as Batman, because he doesn't have superpowers and he doesn't have gadgets like Batman, but he's just tough. Grendel's mother is so pissed, she comes after Beowulf and he kills her too. And then he becomes the king and everybody's really happy. And that's the first half of the game last night. Phillip Rivers is Beowulf, and he's defeating Salah. That's the issue. He was calling the plays. Iggy, you saw what he was doing. He was getting up to the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean?
It was really cool.
And he had his way with Salah.
That anymore. That's what I'm going to talk about. But you go ahead.
And Salah for him was Grendel and Grendel's mother, and he beat them.
Yep.
But now, and what it meant was for all old people, we're not remaindered. We're not dead. We're not in the closet. We still have hope. And it means for everyone, underdogs, overdogs, that there's still glamour and jubilation in life. Now in the second half, he came he wasn't so great anymore. And he
No.
threw, finally, the worst was the pick six that he threw. So it's like in what happened in Beowulf, 50 years later, a dragon comes. And Beowulf, being what he was, wants to protect the good guys and goes to fight the dragon. And he gets killed. The dragon kills him. It's tragic. And what it means is, when he was younger, he could have beat the dragon. But now he was 50 years older. And he was defeated by time. And what I saw in the second half, I hope I'm not going on too long with Beowulf, Iggy.
No.
What I saw in the second half was he got old. He got tired. He hadn't sat on the bench. He was jumping around.
Yeah.
And Salah figured him out somewhat, but the dragon got him. And it means even to the greatest heroes, it ends in tragedy. And it ended in a little tragedy for him and the Colts. And everyone faces it. Everyone gets old and has loss. God knows. I know about that. And so what I felt was the game last night was Beowulf, and it was the tragic cycle of life, jubilation into tragedy. And I loved it on that level, Iggy. I loved it.
That was good, Dad. I like that. That
was
very poetic. Okay.
Thank
I
you.
loved it. That was great. A+. From a football standpoint, I just loved watching him before the snap, because people don't play quarterback like that anymore. The idea that 2 weeks ago he wasn't on the team, and then now he's no huddling, bringing them to the line of scrimmage, acting like he's about to go fast, getting the Niners to sort of declare what they're going to do on defense, and then hanging back, thinking about it, calling a play, setting the protection. I mean, that's how Peyton Manning played. That's how Tom Brady could play. You don't see quarterbacks. Mahomes doesn't do that. No one does that, because coaches don't let them, or they're not good enough. I don't know what the reason is, but it was so cool to see the art of quarterbacking, because it's kind of dead. He brought it back.
Yes, and I love what you're saying. And for me, because I'm old and I've watched a lot of football, it's what football should be.
Yes. It's the quarterback's game, not the play caller's game. Remember 5 years ago when the Niners were talking about maybe getting Tom Brady, we were like, well, no, that could never work, because Tom would want to do that and Kyle would want to do the thing he does with Brock, and they could never meet in the middle.
No, never. They'd have conflict in training camp.
Yes. And I got to give Shane Steichen credit for getting out of the way and letting Phillip Rivers do that, because that's the only way he knows how to play quarterback. And he probably wouldn't even want to do it if he had to do it any other way.
That's right. And he was wonderful. It didn't matter to me who won. I wasn't rooting for Rivers to win, but I was rooting for him to be great. I was rooting for that story and for how much courage he showed. And then you didn't see it on TV. He has all these children. He had a whole rooting section. You know what I mean? They were wearing Colts shirts. It was phenomenal. And you got to remember, a few weeks ago, this guy was coaching high school. Some of these kids weren't even in puberty yet. You know what I mean? And he was coaching high school, and here he is scaring the death out of Robert Saleh.
Yeah. I just love, it's I feel like a lot of these quarterbacks that are 22, 23, these Gen Z quarterbacks who grew up watching, I don't know, Mahomes or something, they think that playing the position is running around, scrambling around, making big plays. That's what Caleb Williams does. He makes these incredible highlight plays, but no one could play the position like that anymore. It was nice to see a guy who's borderline Gen X coming back and be like, listen, kids, this is how you do it. I hate watching you play quarterback. You're constantly leaving the pocket. You do work at the line of scrimmage. Before you do film study, you figure out the line of scrimmage, and when you get the ball, you already have a good idea of where you're going with the ball, and you get it there on time. I mean, he's not a flashy quarterback. That's how he always played, but he was damn good. And I feel like he was going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame next year. And I don't know if he would have made it, because he played all those years in the Chargers and never really did anything in the playoffs. But now I feel like there's a renewed appreciation for Phillip Rivers. He was a hell of a quarterback. And maybe if he had been on better teams, he would have been a Super Bowl. What's the difference between him and Peyton Manning, really, other than the teams they were on? He was doing a dead ringer Peyton Manning impression last night.
Yeah. Iggy, another way of saying what you're saying is, we saw an artist.
Hell yeah. An artist.
We saw an artist.
And he can still do it.
We saw an artist.
Yeah, it was like watching
Yeah, we saw
Mozart, you know what I mean? Doing the whole choreography.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We saw an artist, and we have not seen that. We've seen great athletes, but we saw an artist.
Yeah.
Joe was an artist. Steve was an artist. Manning was an artist. Marino was an artist. We saw.
And last night, Purdy was an artist. Last night, Purdy was an artist.
Yeah,
too.
and last night, yeah, he was. And
that's, I think, what makes his
translated
performance so good. Go ahead.
No, I translate it into artist because that's how I think. And I appreciate art. And one of the things I like about CMC when he's good, he's an artist.
Yes, absolutely. Kittle as well. Warner as well. Yeah. And I think
and I'm going to say
when Purdy's at his best, he's an artist.
Iggy, I want to say this.
Sorry, you're cutting me out.
Bill Walsh was an artist. Bill Walsh was an artist. Mm-hmm. He, even his game plans, I used to see him make up, the little games. He didn't do X's and O's. He did O's and triangles. I don't know what Tom did. They were works of art. They were so beautifully constructed. He was an artist. I would say sometimes Kyle veers into the artist. I'm not sure if he has an artist temperament. It would be interesting to ask him, because I asked Bill, do you feel like an artist? And he said, yeah. He said, yes. I wonder if Kyle even understands the concept. He still may be an artist, even if he doesn't understand the concept.
If you ask Kyle, do you consider yourself an artist? He would probably be like, I don't know how to answer that question, and maybe no. But if you ask Saleh, do you consider Kyle an artist? He'd probably be like, absolutely, and here's why. I would think.
Yeah, I totally agree. He could explain Kyle better than Kyle could explain Kyle.
Yeah, easily. And again, I've always been kind of conflicted with Kyle. But the fact that Robert Saleh respects him so much and is so eager to work with him really speaks well for Kyle.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Wouldn't you assume that Kyle gives him a great deal of autonomy?
I would think so, especially this time around. Maybe the first time around there was a little bit more give and take, but this time it's probably that's your half of the team.
Yeah, I would think he has such confidence in him, and thank God. Let me handle this stuff. Let me handle the offense and the egos that I got over here and the game planning. You just handle the defense. That's how good you are. I think that's how it works. I would be shocked if it doesn't work that way.
All right, well, we're getting to Brock. We're going to also talk about the Bears. Before we get there, I got another sponsor this week. It's Fabletics. If you saw me, I had that nice suit. I needed a suit because Mac Jones had a suit. I feel like Mac Jones has really influenced the team in a lot of ways. Robert Saleh gets credit. Gus Bradley gets credit. All I know is that Mac Jones showed up wearing suits and dancing. Then Brock Purdy started dancing. Now Brock Purdy's playing the best football of his career. Coincidence? I don't think so. So I got a suit just to be a little bit more like Mac. He sets a good tone for the culture. And you got to, if you're looking for a suit, Fabletics has some really nice breathable ones, like the one I got. And I can help you out there because they have some amazing deals. Right now, they're running their biggest sale of the year on top of their already great deals. And I got an exclusive offer just for you, 80% off everything when you sign up as a VIP. Head to fabletics.com/Cohn and sign up as a VIP to get 80% off. This is only available through my link, so go to fabletics.com/COHN to sign up as a VIP and get 80% off. That's fabletics.com/Cohn. Okay, Dad. Bears, short week. It's a better team than the Colts, but it's not necessarily a Super Bowl contender. They got a young quarterback. They got a young head coach. What do you think of this matchup?
Well, Iggy, I think their head coach is fabulous. I have to say. Yeah. He was a great offensive. I mean, he's one of the superstars of the league. The way he turned that Chicago team around. I mean, he's fabulous. Having said that, it's a young team. They have had several wins, like the last one against Green Bay, where they pulled it out at the very end, but they were really vulnerable. The quarterback may be a year away. I don't know how good their defense is. You would know that better than me. I think the 49ers are going to beat them. I do. And I'm going to say something else. A lot of people, us included, have said, well, the Niners, they had an easy schedule. They beat Tennessee and they beat the Colts, but they're really not that good. At a certain point, you have to say the Niners keep winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They keep winning. The Colts weren't supposed to be that bad, but
No.
the Niners put them away. So here's what I'm thinking. I do think they're going to beat the Bears. I think they can win out. I said they have an 11-win season. They got 11 wins already. I think this is a team that can win out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up playing the Super Bowl in their place.
I would not be surprised as well. I do think something tells me if they're going to lose a game, though, the rest of the season, that this is going to be the one. It's not a division opponent. You faced the Bears last year, but not with Ben Johnson. So it's a little bit, the Seahawks, you faced them before, Sam Darnold. This team's different, tough, because Caleb Williams is like, what do you make of him? He's not as good as Purdy yet, but if there's no pass rush and he can just run around, he'll be pretty tough to stop because he's as good at scrambling as anyone. He's got a really big arm. He's not going to play like Phillip Rivers, but that's my thing with the Niners. One, they still have the worst pass rush in the league. Not like one of the worst, the worst. And two, what's up with George Kittle? Do you feel like they could keep up in an offensive game without George Kittle? We'll see. He might play. We'll see.
My guess is he's going to play. Mm-hmm. That it would be very hard to keep him out. But again, I'm not in his body. I don't know.
But even if he plays, he may not be the full Kittle. He might be partial Kittle.
He might be Kit. He might, and we leave out. He might be good.
Yeah.
Who do you think's going to win the game
on Tuesday? Before seeing who's healthy and who's, I kind of feel like the Bears are going to win this game.
Really?
Yeah. Not that I think the Bears are necessarily better than the Niners. It's just the Niners are on a short week. George Kittle's probably not going to be 100% healthy. And I just wonder how far a team with the worst pass rush really goes. Does a team with the worst pass rush win a Super Bowl? I can't imagine. I can't remember a team like that ever winning, but maybe. And maybe the pass rush ends up improving a little bit down the stretch, but I still think they have the fewest sacks of any team. Okay. They had 2 last game. That was good.
I think we should place a bet on this, but not a bottle of wine.
Black Curtain is way ahead of you.
Okay.
Not wine, though.
No, I think we should bet a ballpoint pen.
Ooh, a ballpoint.
Here's a I got a ballpoint pen.
Because I steal them.
You steal all my pens. Here's a ballpoint. And you know what? I feel like, what's his name? That announcer who always has a pen. What's his name? The former quarterback. Aikman.
He's always really nice pens that like people had in the 80s and 90s in their home office with the Mont Blancs. And
I don't have that. I got all I'm saying is
Mont Blanc.
No, I don't want a Mont Blanc. Just a regular ball. It could be a $3 ballpoint pen. Let's bet a ballpoint pen on this because we can go bigger during the playoffs. So if the Bears win, you owe me a ballpoint pen, and it has to be new. It can't be, all out. And if the Bears win, I owe you a ballpoint pen. And here's a good one. So, look,
and again, I'm not picking the Bears because I think that Caleb Williams is better than Brock Purdy. I still don't believe in the Niners defense. I believe in Robert Saleh, but I think he doesn't. There's no Pro Bowler on that defense. There's not a lot to work with, and they're going up against a very well coached team. We'll see.
All right,
but I'm prepared to lose that pen, Dad. I will make good on that pen.
Okay, I feel like I'm bought a lot of Christmas presents, and a lot of it's wine. I'm just talking about a pen. See, Aikman. I'm Aikman.
Okay. The 2 things about Aikman that annoy me, but it's not really his fault. Whenever they cut to him, he's standing up. Why are you standing up? You watched the whole game standing?
No, they tell him stand. Although
like,
Al Michaels
an aggressive athletics posture, right? We don't need you sitting down. And then it's like put something in your hand so it looks like you're like just making calculations.
Yeah. Al Michaels sits because he's older than I am.
Yeah.
Iggy, you know that Al Michaels grew up in Brooklyn until he was about 10 years old, and he lived down the street from my Aunt Sarah Goldstein. He lived right on Ocean Avenue, right near Newkirk Avenue, and she was on Newkirk, right near Coney Island Avenue. So he grew up
It's
near
one of
my
you.
Aunt Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to
Jew.
see Greg Olson announce the whole game from a 3-point stance.
Hey, listen, Iggy, I would like to see Olson and Herb Street announce the whole game with a muzzle on.
Oh my goodness.
Those two.
Who talks too much? Who I feel like Greg Olson, Kirk Herbstreit bleeds into the next play, but Greg Olson is like speaking fast, bleeding into the next play, which gives me a headache. He talks really fast, even though
He
he
wants
has
to
good
get
things to
everything
say.
in. He wants to get everything in. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Herb
I think it's
Street.
time to give the people what they've been begging for, Dad.
I want to finish on Herb Street.
Okay, yeah, we're not done.
He uses the word physicality. Now, I looked it up. It's an English word. I mean, it's been around since the 1500s, but it's so ugly. And I try to turn off the TV when I know he's speaking. So last Thursday, the time I listened to him, he had 5 physicalities, which probably implies there were many more. And he uses it, they have physicality. Does he mean that they're tough, they're rough and tough, they play hard? Why don't
They're
you
strong,
use
that they're
English?
violent. It's a vague word.
Get out of this physicality. Okay, move on.
Okay, I think it's time to give the people what they want. Let's rank Brock Purdy. Is he a top 10? Is he a top 5? I saw someone do a stream today saying that he's clearly the best quarterback in the league now. I don't know, Dad. Where would you put him?
Iggy.
I have a list. I got a list right here.
Okay, hold on a minute. I want to make there certain conditions.
Yeah, I like conditions.
We're basing it on last night. The condition is if he is to play the rest of the season in the playoffs the way he played last night, which was phenomenal, where does he rank? We can't guarantee that he's going to play that way, but we're making an assumption and a leap of faith.
I might do it a little bit differently because I'm not going to assume that he's going to play like his best game every night, but I see what you're saying.
I'm going to do that. So we have 2 different ranking systems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to say right off the bat, based on what I saw last night and projecting ahead, there are 2 quarterbacks that are clearly better than him. Josh Allen and Mahomes. I understand Mahomes is hurt. We're talking about the best of them. They're better. They're better quarterbacks than Brock Purdy. I'm not going to say significantly, but they're better. They can do more things. Josh Allen, he can be a running back. He's so hard to bring down. Mahomes is so clever and so physically gifted. So those are my top 2. Iggy, I got to tell you this. All the other quarterbacks, I think Brock Purdy can compete with. And I have not thought that in the past. And I'm going to give you an example. Is he as good as Joe Burrow? Well, Joe Burrow may be a better thrower, but Joe Burrow's hurt all the time, even more than Brock. Is he as good as Matthew Stafford? I don't think Matthew Stafford could play any better than Purdy played last night. Is he as good as Justin Herbert? Fuck yeah. I don't know that Justin Herbert could play any better than Purdy played last night. I think based on what I saw last night, he's as good as those guys. I think he's better than Jared Goff. I think he's better than Dak Prescott, who will get you killed at the worst time. I think he's better than Sam Darnold, who I've seen go out of his mind and lose games. I think he's better than Hurts in Philadelphia, who really can do just a few things. Now, Lamar Jackson, I suppose, is very good. I've never loved him as a quarterback. So I'm saying, is Purdy top 5? Hell yes. You're not even looking at the camera, so it means you disagree with me so much you want to vomit, right?
Well, let's slow down. I mean, did he play like that yesterday? Yes. But I mean, he's been playing for 4 years. I wouldn't just throw out the rest of he's had a really good month, but it was like 4 weeks ago that he completely melted down against the Panthers. He missed 8 games. I mean, let's see him do this for longer than a month. Let's see him do it against one playoff team or one team that has more than 8 wins. Here's the way I look at it. And I respect your list. But to me, I think there's like a top tier of the elites quarterbacks that would essentially be pretty good and probably at least 500 on any team in the league. The Jets, the Browns, any team in the league. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Stafford. That's to me, like, I think they'd be good anywhere. And then you have the second tier, which is like guys who can play as well as those guys or better if they're in the right situations with the right players around them and the right coaches. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks like that. And I think right now, based on how Brock's playing and what he's got going around him, you could argue he's the best of that group, that he's sixth. But I think last year he might have been down in that group, whereas someone like, I don't know, Darnold was higher. So I think it kind of the second group is heavily dependent on who's calling the plays, who's catching the passes. Whereas, like, if Brock Purdy went to the Jets, would he be good? Would they win? If Stafford went to the Jets, I think they'd be probably 500. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, aside from the Jets, because who cares about the Jets and the Raiders? Are you saying, because I want you to be clear on this, you put him as the number 6 quarterback currently, or saying he might possibly be the number 6 quarterback? What are you saying?
He might possibly be. I feel like there's stretches, like the last month, he's played like the best of the second tier of quarterback. I think of the first tier of quarterbacks as like future Hall of Famers, guys that any team would want in any era. I don't know if I look at Brock as that way, but the guys in the second tier are guys like him, Baker, Trevor Lawrence has been hot this year. Drake May's MVP candidate, but he hasn't done it that long. Lamar, I wouldn't put Lamar with the best of the best. I don't think he's running that much anymore. I think there's a lot. I mean, Bo Nix is having an incredible. I mean, Bo Nix is winning. I don't know. I just feel like he's in that second group of guys, and I think there's like 15 quarterbacks that would do well. And you can't discount the fact that there's something about the Niners system and their players that helps every quarterback. It doesn't mean that Brock isn't very good, because he is very good, but it helped Jimmy. It helped Mac. It's helping Brock. And on other teams, which quarterback has more help than Brock? In the sense that he got a top 5 play caller. He's got the best tight end, the best receiving running back, and the best left tackle. It's a lot of help.
Iggy, do you put Dak Prescott in that group?
I would put Dak Prescott in that second tier of quarterbacks. Like, if you put Dak Prescott on the Niners with Kyle Shanahan and George Kittle, he'd be really good. Would he win a Super Bowl? I don't know.
Jared Goff?
Yeah, I'd put him in there.
Okay. Sam Darnold?
He can't move like Brock, but he can throw.
Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I put him. I'd put Jordan Love, Drake May, Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, CJ Stroud. I mean, if you took Brock off the Niners and put CJ Stroud off the Niners, would they be way worse? Would they? They might be kind of the same, a little different, but kind of the same, with Kyle calling the plays and George Kittle there.
Okay, I really think you're making good points. I want to come back to one thing you said, that Brock is in a really good system for him, and if you put him on another team, he might not be as good, like the Jets. Okay. I think you could say that about Joe Montana.
Fair.
I think
he did go to the Chiefs and have some success.
Yeah, he went to the Chiefs and did very well at the Chiefs. True. We know that the Raiders, for a fact, did not want him. That Bill talked to Al about it, and that Al and Tom looked at tape and they simply didn't want him because his arm was not strong enough for Raiders football. So now some people consider Joe the greatest quarterback who ever lived. If not the greatest, he's really up there. But the point is, he really did benefit from that system. So I don't know if that's a criticism, benefiting from a system.
It's fair. It's a fair point. I think what I'm trying to say is, like, 20 years ago, let's bring it back to the Phillip Rivers example. He's so different than the quarterbacks today. And he reminded us of what those elite upper echelon quarterbacks were like 20 years ago. It was Rivers, Roethlisberger, Manning, Brady, and let's say Rodgers. These are guys that could go to any team and do well because they were the system. Tom Brady proved it. He was with the Patriots. He had all kind of different play callers with the Patriots, and he left, went to Tampa, and won again. So I just don't know that quarterbacks are like that anymore. You could argue that even Mahomes, I mean, was Mahomes that good this year? He missed a play. He got eliminated from the playoffs with like 4 weeks to go with Andy Reid. Are there truly elite quarterbacks anymore? Or are these guys all dependent upon who's calling the plays, who's thinking for them, who's out there with them? I'm just saying.
Fair enough. We were really evaluating Brock in two different ways. You were evaluating him in a very responsible way based on his career. I was doing it based on one game, which is really bullshit, but it makes me happy. And I wish we could make a bet on it, but we've already bet. I want to remind people, we've already bet a
nice
pen.
one.
Yeah, and I can't afford another one. So I'm not betting another ballpoint pen.
Yeah, but one bet at a time.
I forgot that first bet was who wins the next game for a ballpoint pen.
I put it on. I bet an entire ballpoint pen on the Chicago Bears, a team that likes to be down by 10 points with 4 minutes to go and then kick it into gear. So I'm feeling good about that.
Hey Iggy, didn't I once take you when you were a kid to a Giants game and the players stole your ballpoint pen?
Yeah, this was spring training, high school. Got there early. The way you would do it is you'd have a ball and a Sharpie, and the guy'd be out there. You'd like try to throw both of them, and got the ball. He got my Sharpie, threw the ball back, and just kept the Sharpie and kept finding people's, and then left. And it was Marquise Grissom. Marquise Grissom, I haven't forgotten. You owe me a fucking Sharpie, Marquise. You're a great player, but that's not cool.
I remember you were so outraged, Iggy. He took my Sharpie, Dad.
Did you see that?
Okay. So based on last night, I'm saying Purdy is by far and away the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Would you rather have Purdy than Justin Herbert? If you were like general manager of Team X starting over, you would really take Purdy over Herbert? I mean, that's okay. I think some people would say that, I guess.
I'd have to think about it, Iggy. I think based on their whole career, no. You'd want to have Justin Herbert.
Based on last night.
I'm only basing it. I don't think Justin Herbert had a game like that this season. And plus, you know what? I think Purdy's nicer than Justin Herbert.
There's something about Justin Herbert that's decidedly off-putting.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about Harbaugh quarterbacks, but I feel like he was like that before Harbaugh got there. I'm not even going to put that on Harbaugh.
Okay, so we really
you said he's the third best quarterback in the league. I said he was. You could make the argument that he's sometimes as good as the sixth best quarterback in the league. Yeah, although I don't know. We'll see.
I said he's top 5, but I understand you could probably say that Stafford is better or Joe Burrow is better, and I would.
Here's the thing: if the Niners called the Rams and said, well, "Look, we got a great trade for you, Brock Purdy for Matt Stafford," do you think the Rams would do it? Stafford's 37 years old. Do you think they'd do it? I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, he's not as mobile as Brock.
You think the Bengals would trade Burrow for Brock?
No. I honestly, he gets hurt a lot, but Brock does too. But Burrow, God, he's a wonderful quarterback. I love him. Yeah.
The best like when Josh Allen throws the ball, when Herbert throws the ball, when Stafford throws the ball, and it's like holy shit, wow. When Brock plays, he has some holy shit moments, but it's never when the ball leaves his hand. Then it's like, okay, it's floating, and hopefully they catch it. It'll be accurate, but it's going to be in the air a long time. These guys are throwing missiles, and it's a different experience. But arm strength is never.
Hold on. I was watching on TV last night. So again, I'm not at the stadium. His passes, Brock, looked to me like they had some mustard on it. They didn't look like. I'm not sure.
The end was that killed me, man. That one to Kendrick at the end. Why did you call that play? Why did you throw that pass? But it was okay. It was fine. I'm gonna let that one go. They do interesting stuff. Also, not challenging the Jake Tonja's touchdown. What was that? Fortunately, it wasn't a close game. Didn't matter.
You left the mustard. I want to stay with the mustard.
I'm saying mustard. What kind of mustard did he have on his throws, Dad? Were we talking golden
spicy? Golden spicy. He had golden spicy. He didn't have Dijon. Dijon, but he
Dad,
had
is it
golden.
true that Sprewell choked Carlissimo because Carlissimo told him to put mustard on his pass in
That's
practice?
what I've been told. That's what I've been told by people who were there. He said, "Put some mustard on your passes," and he choked them. Now, look, I got to tell you, I'm not saying Carlissimo deserved to
No,
have that happen to him, but he was a pain in the ass to the players. Players really, really didn't like him. He
apparently.
coached up in Portland, I think, and they
Mhm.
called him Policimo.
Oh, wow.
I know
I
that they called him.
I
They
remember
didn't like him.
I remember you took me to that press conference after it happened. I was probably 9 years old,
You
and I
came down
remember
there with
someone
me.
said yeah, you took me, and I remember someone said after that when it happened, when Sprewell started choking Carlissimo, that there was someone on the team who will remain anonymous who was shooting free throws and saw it and shot one more free throw. Like, oh damn, that's someone should stop that.
Listen, and they had a news conference that night. I think I told you what happened. We had dinner. I even had a glass of wine. Who knew? And the PR guy, it was before Raymond was there, calls me up from the words. What are you calling me for? He says, Lowell, I think you better get down here. We're having a press
Yeah.
conference. It's pretty well just joked the coach. I said,
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be there in 10 minutes. And so St. Jean and Carlissimo sat at a table in the gym
Yep.
and two chairs behind a
They
table.
showed the thing. Yeah.
Well, he was wearing a turtleneck sweater.
Oh yeah. I
Remember?
swear I think I was
Was
there. I think you were like,
yeah.
"Hey," I think you were, like, kinda tipsy, and you were like, "Hey, you wanna come see some shit?" I was like, "Yeah, I do wanna see some shit."
And he was wearing and whenever we asked questions, they said, "I don't want to answer it." And I'm thinking, "Why the hell are you here?" Because he didn't want to say how they. I not only heard that he choked him, I heard while he was choking him, he started choking him around the key, and he dragged him by his throat under the basket. Now I wasn't there, but that's what people who were there told me. They dragged him across the floor by his throat.
My goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
Well at least he moved at least he didn't die. Alright, the Black Hercules says, "How are you feeling, Grant? How many hours of sleep did you manage?" I wanna say 3. I'm doing pretty good. Welcome back to the Bay. It's gonna be a wild week. See you at Levi's on Sunday. Jamie says, "Shanny, please, 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 with Kittle hurt, run 2 tight ends." Okay. All day, every day. Kim says, "What's Indy's defense ranked since Danny Dimes sauce?" I don't know, man. They seem like a team that was kind of dead, but Phillip Rivers did good. I don't know. 49ers Aaron 25 says, "Merry Christmas, Grant and Lowell. Love the stream." 7 Dennis says, "Happy Festivus cones, the sharing of grievances." Nice Seinfeld reference. The Black Hercules says, "Lighthearted question from a new beard owner, Lowell. What do you think of Iggy's new beard, preferred length, style, and product recommendations?"
I don't know nothing about product, but look how handsome my son is. He's handsome in any iteration that he has. He's got
I don't have any
as
product yet.
as my mother would say, he's got a Shayna Punham, which means a handsome face, a pretty face.
Thanks, Dad. I got to get some oils. When I get some, I'll let you know. All day, every day. Kim says the schedule is cake. That's the difference. That is one difference. Hog 20 says, "Shout out to Debo at 4-11." Yeah, he got to go to the Commanders. How you like that? Bill Kennedy says, "Is Boyer a good choice to be the next DC?" No, he's a special teams coach. I think it'll be Bradley. Black Hercules, new member. Thank you. Cayman Island Podcast says, "What exactly will it take for you to consider Brock to be a great quarterback? Another Super Bowl appearance? Will this remove the narrative?" Well, winning a
How
Super
about
Bowl would
his
be great.
not appearance win? Now
Winning,
Marino, I don't
winning
think
would
ever
be good.
won, but yeah, winning would be good.
Marino wasn't exactly on the best team. Stefan says, "Can you ask Kyle why he's so bad with challenges?" I did.
Yeah.
I asked him last night. I was like, "Did you think about challenging that one with Tanji?" He was like, "I did, but I got some really bad advice on the other one." It's like, all right, well, who's advising you? I could do it. All day, every day. Kim says should be an assistant coach of the year award. There is one, and I think Salah could win it. Swift Gotti says, "For PR, could this be a coaching interview slash NFL? For PR, could this be a coaching interview? What are you talking about?" So I don't know what you're talking about. Ben Eastman says, "Hey, Grant, my brother Sam Eastman thinks Christian is out of his prime and is not good, only getting maximum touches. Is Robinson that guy?" No, I think Christian's still good. He's a Pro Bowler. He's still the best receiver at his position, and he had 117 yards last night. Sheridan Milestone says, do you think the fullback makes the Hall of Fame? I don't like him either, but he's made 10 Pro Bowls. Also, that no challenge cost Brock his best TD of the season. I don't think the fullback makes the Hall of Fame. I don't think he does. He has the Pro Bowls, but not like the stats. Bill Kennedy says, if they lose out, is the season a success? If they lose out.
No. It would mean they failed at the crucial part of the season. You don't get credit for what happened in September. They need to win out. They need to be the first seed in the NFC.
If they lose to the Bears and then they lose to the Seahawks, you look back at these 4 wins as like, man, you just beat 4 teams that weren't good. That's all you did. It has to lead to more wins.
Yeah.
Swift Gotti says, if the Niners make it to the Super Bowl, who do they play? Who knows? I have no idea. Jaguars look good, but I mean, every week the team I think look good loses. All day, every day.
Iggy. Patriots look good.
Patriots look good.
That quarterback, Iggy, we didn't even really mention him much. That quarterback is, I mean, he's young, but man, he's really good, that May.
Yeah, it's hard to put him over Purdy just because he hasn't played as long, but if he makes a real playoff run, I mean, it's a lot like Josh Allen. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Lamey, fountain, or ballpoint pen?
No, it has to be a ballpoint. Here, I'm holding a ballpoint. It can be any cheap.
He's not a fountain guy. This is for the Beowulf story. He says, don't be a beta.
Thank you. Oh, I love it. Thank you. I thought I was wasting everybody's time.
Josh says, hey, guys, did you catch Jake Paul getting his jaw smashed on Friday versus Anthony Joshua? Hope all is well. I did watch that. It was quite interesting to watch.
Iggy, I don't watch exhibitions. I'm a boxing fan. I don't watch boxing bullshit.
Yeah, well, I feel like this Jake Paul's been making a lot of money with boxing bullshit for a while, and he finally got what he was asking for. He got his jaw broke.
Yeah.
Have you seen Anthony Joshua fight before?
Any number of times. He had great fights with Andy Ruiz.
Black Hercules says, if Rivers is King Hrothgar, then Purdy is Pip. Gojira Von Jink says, stuff Grant's Christmas stuffing with pens. Mr. Fish and Chip says, what happened to the cat? Get one, call it McKivitz. McKivitz is doing good. Ezio Sanchez says, Grant, I got you a Leeds United jersey for Christmas. It's at Jed's office. He has it ready for you to pick up. Hey, Rusty Dime, $2. Thank you. KM Condre says, couple dollars to make you holla Fernando. Hey, Rusty Dimes has been watching since 2021. It's my 17th birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy holiday, Cones. Happy holiday, Joey Mellons. The Only Flav says, I think Kyle McVay and Reed are all about equal when it comes to being able to get the most out of a quarterback. Stafford couldn't win a playoff game until McVay. Alex Smith looked different with Reed. And a lot of quarterbacks have had their best seasons with Kyle.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do some prize picks, Dad. Now, they don't have that many Niners prize picks yet, and I don't know why. It's early in the week. So let's just do a la carte prize picks. Dak Prescott at Washington on Christmas. Let's do some Christmas prize picks. 273.5 against the awful, but both of these teams are eliminated. So this is a game that doesn't matter. These are some of my favorite prize picks. In a game that doesn't matter, how do you, when the stakes are at their lowest, Dak Prescott, how do you feel? 273.5.
Fewer.
Jared Goff, also eliminated. Also Christmas, 242.5 at Minnesota.
Fewer.
Bo Nix, 230.5 on Christmas against the corpse of Kansas City. Say fewer. My dad's frozen in that's how he feels about Bo Nix. Look at his face right now. That's how he feels about Bo Nix. I feel like
I lost you for a minute. And you lost me. Yeah, so the last thing we did was Goff.
Bo Nix.
Okay.
230.5, more fewer.
Who's he playing?
He's playing Kansas City on Christmas.
More.
Okay. Couple more. CJ Stroud against the Chargers, 225.5 on Saturday.
Fewer.
All right, then her last one. Justin Herbert against Houston, 217.5. More or fewer.
Houston is a good defensive team.
It is.
And who is it again?
Herbert.
Herbert.
The mute,
I'm going to say
mute.
more. I'm going to more.
He's good. He's no Brock Purdy.
I'm betting you a pen here.
I'm betting you the pen. All right, those are our plays. Check it out. Prescott, Goff, Bo Nix, Stroud, Herbert, submitting. Download Prize Picks. Use promo code Cohn, COHN. Play $5 and get $50 instantly in lineups when you use that promo code. How about that? Well, Dad, the results are in, and people are already saying it's the best show they've ever seen.
It was a long one. We don't usually go an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to need a nap.
It was a holiday spirit. The two Jew boys with the Christmas spirit.
Hey, listen, everybody. Merry Christmas. Have a wonderful and safe Christmas.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. Dad, I love you.
I love you, Iggy. I'm glad to have you back in the Bay Area.
Good to be back. Niners keep winning so I can stay here for a little while. I don't want to go to Philly in 3 weeks, but I'll do it if